Hello and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. So in this video I'd like to give you guys an update on my succulent here. So this plant here is called Pachypodium succulentum. So it's quite an unusual succulent. It's a Pachypodium, and most Pachypodiums, what really defines them is they have a very swollen caudex. So the caudex is a swollen stem at the base of the plant, and it uses it to store water and sugars to survive very long prolonged droughts. So this one here has been growing well for me for several years now. I haven't actually done an update for 8 years. I'll show you some pictures from the previous update. Basically, I bought this plant several years ago, I think it was about 10 or 12 years ago, and it was supposed to be a succulent called Phacoia edulis, but unfortunately it was definitely not that plant, because when it started to grow it looked quite different. It does grow in a similar way, but the leaves definitely look quite different, and so are the spiny stems. So I knew it was the wrong plant almost straight away. I didn't know what succulent it was. I knew it was definitely some kind of Pachypodium, and then after a little bit of looking up different species, it seemed to be that it was a succulentum. So when I first had it, it grew fairly well in the first year. I did a repotting video. Basically the caudex was mostly buried underground, so I raised it up above ground so I could get a really nice look at it. And then it did well for the rest of that summer. The next spring it grew a little bit, and then I had it for about, I think it was about 6 or so years, just not growing at all. Basically it would just put on a few leaves every spring, maybe 2 or 3 leaves, and then it would lose them in winter, and it just didn't really seem to do anything. Then it only really started to do well when I brought it to my new house in my conservatory, and I figured out what the problem was. So most Pachypodiums are more of a subtropical plant. This is more of a temperate plant. So the problem is, if you have a temperate plant and you give it tropical conditions all year round, it's going to grow a bit and then it's going to go dormant, and then it's just not going to grow anymore until its dormancy can be broken. So with this plant, it needed a cold period, it basically needed winter, so it knows to go dormant, and then when it's had long enough in a dormant period, it will break down any of the dormancy hormones and it will grow well the next year. So the problem was, this wasn't getting cold enough for me. It was staying quite warm, so now I've had it in my conservatory for a few years. It's been growing really well. So basically every year I put it in the coldest place I can in the conservatory. It stays around 5 degrees for a lot of the winter, and it loses all its leaves, it looks dead, but then it comes back and it grows really well each spring and summer. So I managed to figure out what was wrong with this plant, and it just needed a cold dormancy period. So since then it's been doing well. Now last summer I did repot it because it was starting to lean over. You can see that with how some of the older branches have come up. So you can see they're kind of leaning this way. That's because this whole thing was tilted over. And then when I've put it back up straight, you can see the new branches have gone straight again. So it's looking a bit better now. It's a straight trunk. I also gave it a slightly larger pot, although it looks like it could be due another repot soon. It doesn't need a very large pot though, because these grow in very rocky crevices in the wild, in very poor soil, so it's quite used to being pot bound. But I would like to give it a repot to give it the best chance. But I'm quite happy with the growth. You can see how much it's grown. So basically this shoot up here, it started off at this point this spring, and it's grown about 10-15 centimeters in height, and most of the stems have grown between about 5 and 15 centimeters, so reasonable growth. It's got nice glossy leaves on it as well. So the way I look after this is, in autumn I reduce the watering down once it starts getting cooler temperatures. Then when the leaves start to change colour, I completely stop watering it. I let it dry out completely, and I don't give it any water for about 4 or 5 months over the winter time. And then come spring, once the temperatures start getting warm again in the conservatory, so probably about 20 degrees Celsius, I start giving it a little bit of water just so the soil isn't bone dry, but I'm still very careful with the watering. And then once it starts putting on good growth, I then water it regularly. So in hot weather, I water this daily. It actually is quite a thirsty plant when the weather's good. And I think that's probably a way that this grows in the wild. When there's water available, it grows rapidly, it stores up as much of that water as it can, and it grows its caudex quickly. And then it just conserves that water until it then rains again, and then it can rapidly grow. So it kind of grows in little spurts. I just keep it well watered over the summer, and then no water in the winter. And I regularly feed it in the summer as well when it's growing. As you can see, it's got these lovely glossy leaves. It's doing very well for me at the moment, so I'm quite happy with it. So that's all for this update. Just a quick update to show you how my Pachypodium's been doing. I haven't had an update to say for 8 years, just because the first few years it just wasn't really doing anything. And then it's only recently it started to take off. So I'll see you guys maybe another year or two when I decide to repot this, and I might do a bit of pruning. I'm quite happy with how the branches look at the moment, but they could always do a bit of pruning in the future once they start to get more congested.